Dan, how are you?
I am good. How are you?
We're good. Now I have to get rid of this background. Uh, adjust background and filters. There we go. None. There we go.
Nice. It's the both of you. Greg and Zuli, right?
Yes.
Yes,
How are you doing?
we're great. Thank you.
Thank you for taking the time to talk to me. Where are you calling from? It seems wonderful behind you.
We are in Hallandale, Florida, which is in between Miami and Fort Lauderdale.
Okay, that's very cool. I might even come for advice to you because we're looking to do an event for the community, and we've been
Mhm.
thinking of that exact place. So we're hesitating between Miami, Fort Lauderdale. Let's see.
Both are great and both have fantastic venues.
Have you ever been to Dubai?
Yes, all the time.
Yeah, you like it?
We love it. My wife is trying to convince me to move there.
Yes.
No way.
Yeah.
So what do we have that you don't have? I'm curious.
So you're in Dubai, is that?
Yeah, I live in
Oh
Dubai.
yeah. Um,
Cleanliness, security, modern, uh, everybody's very respectful. I don't know. I just love it there. I feel very safe,
secure, very safe.
I,
comfortable.
I would agree with that for sure.
Yeah.
Some
And
people
it's
say, you know, it's a bit like fake or it lacks maybe nature,
yeah.
which, I can understand. But on all other aspects, like when people ask me, I've moved around quite a bit, lived in the US, Amsterdam, Paris, etc. When people ask me, do you intend to just stay in Dubai forever? I'm like, I mean, as soon as I find something better, I'll move, but so far.
Yeah. What's amazing to us, and it's these small details, I guess, is that we can look outside of our room when we're there and we see these women at 11 o'clock at night pushing strollers. You can't do that
Right.
in 99% of the places around the world.
Hmm.
Or you go to the coffee shop and I want to go, hey, you forgot your purse. No, they didn't forget it. They're not concerned about anybody taking it. They're going to go get their coffee. They've turned their back on it. Their cell phone is hanging out and a wallet's sitting there and they go up, they do whatever they need to do, and then they come right back. And those are the small aspects of life that you come to appreciate and you say, okay, that's very nice.
Mhm.
I agree. When I go to the
Yep.
beach, I just leave my phone, my watch, my everything on my just, on my sunbed.
Yeah.
And I come from Paris, which Paris is like, a nightmare right now.
Yes.
And I'm always like a bit, watching behind my back, and then I'm like, you're fine. You're in Dubai. So you gotta get used to it.
Yeah.
All right.
Paris,
Well,
Paris is that way too. Yeah.
yeah. Anyway, we've been trying to meet for a little while. I've heard about how um, invested you guys have been in the program from Tristan, and I was looking for a couple specifically who's done well, who has been able to go through the teachings, and together they've invested in themselves in this new world of digital asset because our couple community is growing a lot here in DM. I think we probably have at least over 100 who are doing it together. Um, and like many of our members who've been, with us for a while now, you both are highly accomplished in life. You could just chill and be like, I don't need to learn any of this. But
Mhm.
you've decided to actually do it. You're business owners, I've heard in the insurance industry, um, and you both took learning digital assets and crypto very seriously. And I would like to know, first of all, why is that?
Well, let me start off. The digital asset category was probably introduced to me when Bitcoin first came out. And at that juncture, we talked about it a little bit and just it was one of these things out in the periphery and we ignored it and didn't pay particular attention to it. And then I think as time sort of progressed, we then started making small investments here or there and started buying some coins and started doing some different things. But I would say both of us would look at each other and we're like, we really don't know what this is all about.
No, and the portfolio was growing in the sense of we were invested in it, but we didn't know what to do with it. We
Yeah.
just kept on buying on a weekly basis and
And
not knowing where to go.
and I think we rode through at least two different cycles where the thing really pops way up and then it came way back down. And our acquisition strategy, of course, everybody was talking about Bitcoin, so that was part of it, and Ethereum, that was part of it. But then outside of that, what do you do with it? We took our son, youngest son, who's 31, has quite an interest in it also. And he took us down a venture with, what do you call that?
NFTs.
NFTs. And let me just tell you, I mean, I'm sure he knows what he was doing, but by pure dumb luck on our part, that was an interesting venture for us. And today, apparently, we are the proud owners of a group of certain select things that only 71 people has, which was some sort of joint venture between Nike and all these things. And we have, I don't know how many Nike sneakers that are unique and whatever. And he's telling me, let's take it to Sotheby's and sell it. And well, actually, he called it Selfbees. And I couldn't figure out what he meant by Selfbees. And then he said, the place in London. And I was like, oh, that place. Yes. Okay. And
There's so
how
much
much,
happening in this space, yeah. I mean,
how much is that worth?
your
So
son is
we,
in. He's in the
yes,
revolution. I love that.
yeah,
Uh,
he's in it. And so probably, we've built up the portfolio. And then about a year ago, I'm gonna maybe a little bit more. We were trying to figure out what to do with this particular portfolio. It only represents a fraction. We don't have we don't have all of our assets in it, or things like that. And we were talking with actually, I think both of us, we were talking, we do a lot of work with Wells Fargo. And so we were talking with Wells Fargo, and they were introducing a new concept, a Bitcoin. And I'm thinking, okay, you guys are further behind the curve than I am, because if that's a new concept for you, then clearly we're not there. So um, we'd been looking around for various materials, and we came across your operation, and we said, okay, we really need to go to school on this, and we need to understand this from sort of the beginning to the end in the process. Um, I do need to back up and say one thing. We were trying to validate, the authenticity of your program. How strong is that? We had a track record in the past in a different class and category of investments, around tax deeds and tax liens, because we have a real estate business, and we had invested in that, and that paid off handsomely for us. We learned that process. We understood that process. And we said, okay, it's worth making an investment to see what you guys had to offer in the way of product. And so we were looking at that. We went ahead, we got involved, I
so
think, in
so
the first
before
month.
you got involved, who was the most skeptical between both of you? Because there's always one who's highly skeptical. Was there? For example,
I'm the
with
pessimist. Nothing's
okay,
gonna work.
yeah,
Why are we doing this?
Yes. And in all,
I'm happy. I have I'm having a great time. Why do I need this headache? That's me.
yes.
right.
And,
So what convinced you? What convinced you?
Well, nothing has convinced me yet. I still see every week we're investing in it, and I'm like,
but
okay.
but hold on, we've made some
But I'm
money
very
too.
relaxed. I'm not a person that
No, I
is.
mean, what convinced you when you were researching the company? What convinced you that, okay, this company seems legit and we want to learn with them?
Uh, I think the videos were very serious. The way they explain it's very academic. And I felt, oh, these people are serious and they explain well. Tristan was always on time, huh, Greg?
Yes.
Always on time, no matter where we were, because sometimes we are in a different time zone. We always connected. He was always
Mhm.
responded well to our questions and to our emails. So, yeah.
And
Tristan,
there
your
was,
mentor, right? Just for
yes,
maybe,
yeah.
yeah, for the
And
interview
there,
purposes, so Tristan is your mentor. Yeah.
Yes, he's based in Canada. And so we have like a
different, but we're in
different
different
times.
time zones because of work-related issues.
Well,
Yeah.
yes.
And
Um,
Okay.
there was another piece that I thought was very important. Um, Everybody that I saw prior to really joining the program seemed to be age appropriate. I would grow skeptical of somebody that's 60 years old trying to teach me a new technology that's just come out. But you guys were very serious in terms of what you were bringing to the table. And in listening to the way sort of the initial videos were discussed, I could see that there was a template and a methodology that you had defined. Plus, there was a working knowledge of the investment markets. And I listened to some of those recordings, and I wouldn't say we're the most sophisticated investors, but we have an understanding of the way markets operate and how they trend together. So in those pre-videos, before we made the actual acquisition, there seemed to be substance behind what it was that you guys were talking about.
Okay. All right. Maybe the credentials,
Yeah.
me explaining the system, etc. All right. That's interesting. Cool. And maybe the person you spoke to as well, initially, that was able to guide you through your questions, etc.
hmm.
Yes. I forget the gentleman's name, but he was very, very thorough.
I have it in my notebook, but
Yes, we have in
the
the
notebook.
notebooks with Jonathan.
Jonathan has it.
Yeah, he was very thorough and he answered our questions, and that was good to see. It was also good to see in talking to him that there was a platform. There was a something that we could refer back to, and you listen to a video and you pick up on certain things, but the ability to then go back and re-listen to the same video as many times as you want, taking notes and understanding certain components to it.
All right. Thank you. That's very helpful. So, how did joining the program expand your knowledge in the digital asset world and decentralized finance? And, like you say, your own words, what to do with these coins?
Yeah. So I think it started off very basic from our perspective, in that we started to come up with a methodology that said this is how we need to sort of rebalance the portfolio. There's measurements that we understood were guideposts, not investment criteria, but guideposts that allowed us to then sit down and say, let's put this into a spreadsheet. Let's look at where our portfolio is. Let's see the coins that we actually have.
Yeah, because like Tristan was saying, or I don't know who was saying, the percentage that you're supposed to have on the different types of coins, and we were off balance completely.
And yeah, and so we
We call it the
rebalance.
all-weather portfolio. Exactly. Basically, most
Yes.
people don't know exactly what to buy and how much of it to buy. And that's the like, what do I buy? And then on what percentage? Exactly what you're talking about. Very good.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
We already had it. Like, it's not like we needed to pull the trigger. Like, sometimes you have to pull the trigger. No, we had pulled the trigger way back. It's just that it was off balance. So how do we rebalance it? And I think the guidance on that
Yep.
was important.
And interestingly enough, as we looked at this current pullback in the market on the crypto coins, I think if we had maintained the same portfolio that we had had before, yes, we took a hit this time around from the highs, but it would have been a much bigger hit had we not
Adjustment.
made those adjustments. And
Also, when they were talking about putting your coins to work, we were like, okay,
yes,
how's
All
that?
right.
How's
We
that
get to
do?
phase B now. So once you were able to rebalance and that saved you from the big drop, because
hmm,
obviously if you were in coins that are extremely risky with lots of percentage allocated to that, you get crushed, right? Of course,
yep.
crypto is volatile. That's normal, but that's why we're able to have those sophisticated allocations. And then how do we make more money from it is put them to work. So what was your experience with that, with phase B?
So we are still
Confused.
confused in phase B. We have co-opted our son to get involved with us and in terms of understanding it. We understand the concept of the ledger. We understand the concept of moving to other platforms. One of the things that I know is our primary platform that we're using is Coinbase. I used to be on a couple of others, but somehow we've consolidated on Coinbase. Coinbase is extremely expensive to transact on. And I mean, you put anything, you do anything on that and they charge you X amount of money. Um, so
And so that's a hindrance
yeah,
right
that's
there.
been a hindrance, but we are coming up right now with a strategy where we're working with him to start the investments in terms of these liquidity pools and
Awesome.
identifying. We have the measurements for identifying what liquidity pools we should be looking at. And we're starting to get to that phase. And I think that's really where we are at this point, sort of in our investment criteria. Oh, the other part was taking profits.
Hmm.
And we
Mhm.
and then I don't even think we realized prior to joining your program that there was things like the coin that's measured to the treasury bill, that there's no volatility there. It's a parity.
The stable coin, yeah.
And yeah, and so we've actually piled some cash into that from some profits that we've taken. And right now with the dip, we've gone back in and started buying some more coins in the core holdings that we feel are important to us, but in very small weekly increments. We
Well, that's
believe in
awesome. Well,
the
from what I hear, it's great. So that confusion you're getting entering phase B, which has become your own bank, accessing the liquidity pools, is what separates you from 99.9% of investors out there because they have no clue, right? So we are 8 billion people in the world. 500
Mhm.
million are invested in crypto, but only on mainstream exchanges like Coinbase, like you were doing before. So they're riding the cycle up and down, knowing what they're doing, right?
Yep.
Which you were doing for like before joining us, which
Yes.
I did.
Yep.
In 2017, I made seven figures and I lost it all, gave back all my gains to the market. You have to you have to go through that. If you were there early, it's most likely that it happened to you.
Hmm.
Then, so you did phase A, you rebalanced, and then there's phase B. Instead of paying all these fees to Coinbase, like you just said, we take that money out, we put it on decentralized exchanges, we call them native markets, and then we make our money work for us. For example, you're sitting maybe in a beautiful beachfront property right now, right? If you're traveling somewhere for maybe a year or so, I'm pretty sure you would have tenants in the apartment while you're gone. Well, it's the same thing.
Hmm.
When you have digital assets, right? You want to put them to work for you so that they generate yield. So, what I'm saying is around what? 10 million people in the world know how to do this. And so, obviously, you're calling it the hindrance or you're still there, but that's where you want to push. That's
Yep.
exactly where, you want to remove the noise, use Tristan as your resource because most people don't know how to do this. And on your stable coins, you can get 15% annual, which is very good, right? Because it's backed one to one by the US dollars, plus all the other assets that you have, so Bitcoin, Ethereum, etc. Now, the moment you do this, and I understand you have to push to get there because there's this technological barrier that you're feeling, but that barrier is the opportunity. That's why most people don't do it. Once you get past that, now it opens up and you're able to invest and you're ahead of, as I said, everyone else. So, congrats there. It's great.
Yep.
You also took profit. That's what I heard. You were able to
Yes.
take profits when before you didn't. So, how did that feel?
Yeah, it's great. I mean,
Right.
I'm like, okay, we got some cash in the bank and that's profit and everything else that's riding is house money. Um, and interestingly enough, two very important things from our
And
perspective.
I think I'm the one who pushed on profit.
Yes,
Very
she
well,
pushed,
very well done.
yes,
Yeah.
she
Well
pushed on
done.
profit. She at because I do a lot of these long-term holds. And so I'm like, oh, no, no, no. And she's like, no, take the profit and then and I'm like, okay. So it's
Nice.
been very good. One of the things that well, two things. The rebalancing of the portfolio made at least it made me rethink the way we look at meme coins and don't chase that, but have a very small percent of the overall portfolio maybe move into something like that. And literally, Coinbase offered us an opportunity the other day, and we're up 60%, and I'm getting out of it. I'm like, whew, done. We'll take it and put it into the bank and, and do that. But that was a thought process that came directly from going through your videos and saying, here's that opportunity. Now the other piece, and we were talking to Tristan about this, is that we've been treating this as an ancillary thing, not as one of our primary drivers. And over the last 60 days, we're now dedicating specific time slots during the working day to this topic. Because if we don't do that, it will just become something that we look at for 20 minutes at night, and that is not when we do our best thinking. And so we're now setting up office time and
So
really work.
why? What made you shift your thinking? That's what I want to understand. Why are you making this a priority? What did you see that maybe you didn't recognize before, but you're seeing now?
I think it was a recognition that if we are going to make the investment, we're spending money on it and we're being serious about it, then we have to take our greatest asset, which is time, and
Mhm.
dedicate it to it in order to be successful. Anything that we've ever been successful at, it's because we've invested the time into it. When we don't invest the time into it, forget it.
We don't even think about it if you
It,
don't have it scheduled.
and we really shouldn't then be part of it. From an investment perspective, if we don't invest the time into it, then it means we haven't prioritized it. And I think we made the decision to prioritize it, and I think the next step was allocating the time to it to make
That's
it really
awesome.
viable.
I 100% wholeheartedly agree with this. Uh, have you been able to join the market intelligence summits sometimes with Salim and I?
We have not, because they typically run at times that we are involved in conference calls
Mhm.
or other things during the day. Because once sort of 8:30 rolls around, my day starts around 5:30, and I'm on calls. I go work out, but I'm on calls during that time. And then it really gets picked up about 8:30, and we're going then pretty much all day. And
Mhm.
so that's where if we don't budget our time very carefully, it's hard. And so we've not been in on those marketing calls. But Jonathan has been joining those
Yeah.
marketing calls, and he
Our
has come
son.
away with a lot of valuable intelligence, and I think is really helping us drive our next level of strategy.
That's great. All right. What would you tell another couple who's on the fence about joining right now? Or maybe, one is skeptical, one wants to do it. What would you say to them?
Educate yourself first.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can't be, giving advice with other people's resources is not, it's not good at
Yeah.
times.
I would say, are you willing to be serious about putting in your time? If you're not willing to do that, then don't do it. But if you're
I agree.
willing to put in the time, then you really need to be serious and you need to get educated
Educated.
well.
That's one of our favorite lines. Get educated. We always say that because investments, people treat business like, they're everything and they educate themselves about business. They're going to read books and they're going to try and get better. And it takes time, right? To grow a big business. It takes a lot
Mhm.
of time to grow the people within it, the operation, the structure, the marketing, the sales, all these aspects. Well, when it comes to investments, which is like I'm making active income now, how do I make my money work for me?
Yep.
Instead of me working, hours for to make money, right? So everyone needs to invest at some point, especially because there is inflation, there is the money printing going on, the US dollar devaluation. You have to make your money work for you, otherwise you're going to be trapped. But most people don't want to dedicate any time to it, or they just don't understand what they're doing, which is the main reason why we created all this. We created all
Mhm.
this because we recognize that the missing gap is education in the market first, and obviously then the returns, the profits, they follow because it's a skill like anything else in the world. So that's what I would
Absolutely.
say. So thank you for
Mhm.
saying that because, you know, a lot of people see on the outside our results in the NATO markets and all these big gains that people are making thanks to Tyler's calls. I don't know if you've been on that, but you've probably heard about it. Uh, and so they get very excited, but they don't want to put in the time to actually learn.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I see that more and more. People want the quick hit, but they don't want to invest anything to get that quick hit. It's a little bit of the lottery mentality, I think. But and at least for us, that's never really worked.
No,
We
you
we
have
we have to put in the time, energy, and effort to make it really play out.
Wonderful. All right. My final question, because maybe you probably have a good day, I mean, a busy day, sorry, as you said, and you might want to ask me as well something. So, overall, is there anything that you believe we're doing well and that we should keep doing, or something maybe that you have as a feedback that we could be doing better?
I think this is important, because your time is important and you're sharing your time with us at
Mhm.
this time, your thoughts. So it's good to have that interaction.
Mhm.
We feel, like, okay, we matter. You're busy, you're doing things, but we matter to your organization.
Mhm. And I would add the from my perspective, the structure of the videos from the very, very basic to, it gets incrementally more complex. But as the complexity grows, I think if you focus and you listen, you can grow with that complexity and it doesn't overwhelm you. There's not, if there's a term and if there's a terminology that you folks are utilizing, you explain what that terminology is. You don't let it just hang out there and let it be and then move on to something different. So the
Yeah.
videos are very useful. Um, at this juncture, I could not identify something that I would say, well, I think if you did this better, we would be in a better position. Nothing comes to mind right at the moment.
And I'm a visual learner, so I like when they show you the page and they show you where they're clicking, where they're
Yes.
going, what they're looking at. It's different when somebody describes something and it's just up in the air. And another thing is when you see the individual going through it, showing you how to get there, what to look for.
Hmm.
So it makes it clear.
Yeah.
Oops, I can't hear you.
You muted.
Sorry, I was muting. I'm saying, so you're saying we do a good job at showing where to click, hold you, and
Mhm.
by,
Yeah.
step by step. Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
Yes.
And I think the other piece that is important is that whoever we're speaking to, they are actively participating in the market. This is not a theoretical exercise for them. They've put their money to work at whatever level money they have. They put it to work. They're actually doing this along with working in the decentralized company. And to me, that brings a lot of credibility. And the other part, which I think brings a lot of credibility, is that there is no one proven, no one methodology that everybody says this is the only way to do this. No, Tristan follows the parameters. He has certain ideas. We talked to a couple of other folks. They're like, well, we like this particular niche. And even when I listen to you talk, there's different opportunities and it really speaks to us in the sense that we may not necessarily want to get involved in this aspect, but we're involved in that aspect.
Or they listen to one another because
Yes.
Tristan says, "Oh no, I listened to this and I did this," and
Yeah. And
So,
so,
you
and
know why I'm
so,
smiling? I love what you just said. You know why I'm smiling? Because um, I always wanna, I always wanna hire the I always want to hire the absolute best people, the experts in the
Hmm.
industry. And obviously, experts have their own niche of specialty,
Yes.
right? And we have this ABN system that is our framework. But within the framework, obviously, people come here to get educated and they might like this or that better. An example is you have some people that come in and really love Bitcoin and the value proposition of Bitcoin more than anything else, correct? So
Hmm.
they will look for liquidity pools for Bitcoin more in detail. They will go more in depth in that. Some other people might be interested in some other aspects. And so as long as it's part of the ABN framework, which is what we've taught them,
Right.
then their specialty comes up and you're able to interact with all the different mentors and you will always find an amazing idea in the niche specialty that you are interested in. And that's why I was smiling because that's exactly what I tell them. You guys are experts. Keep doing what you're doing and it will just show up. It will surface.
Yeah.
People will notice. Like you're so good at what you do, just keep doing that. It's great.
Yeah. No question. It comes back to the philosophy. Practice what you preach. And that's what they and everybody that we have come across in your company, your organization, is practicing what they preach. This isn't a theoretical exercise for them.
Right.
And that's very important to us. I've seen too many theories, and you know. So if I was going to, there'd be one question that I would ask, and that is, if you had one singular piece of advice for us at where we're at, what would that singular piece of advice be?
All right. My singular piece of advice would be 2015 to 2020, you can basically look at crypto as a whole in 5 year cycles or 5 year pieces. 2010 to 2015, no one cared. If you were there, bravo, right? But very few people. 2015 to 2020, more or less, is when everyone laughed at this technology. 2020 to 2025 is when they fought this technology. So the financial institutions, the banking system, they started fighting it because they realized, hey, this is not funny anymore. They're going to eat my lunch.
Hmm.
Mhm.
2025 to 2030 is going to be the golden age when all the next big unicorns either have launched, are being launched, or are growing. This is the moment to pay attention. You're ahead of the curve. You went through different cycles. You finally are paying attention. What I suggest is you keep paying attention because the big bucks, the massive bucks will be made now. Why am I saying this? Is because if you look at the internet, adoption, 1998 or whatever that was, Amazon, Google, the first players moved in, correct? That's your Bitcoin, Ethereum. They're going to keep growing, but they're not going to accelerate from here. The initial phase is gone, right? They're still going to grow, but it's not going to be exponential. Now, people often forget, but after the 2001, bubble, you have big companies like Facebook, Airbnb, Uber, all of these, they popped up way later, 10 years after Google and Amazon. We're going to enter that phase now.
Mm.
Yeah.
In the native markets, this is where the opportunity is. So my big suggestion is if you stick to it for another year, and especially with the research capabilities here at DM, you keep being conservative in how you balance your portfolios, you follow the ABN system, but in the native markets, especially by the way, if there is a market downturn, I made all my wealth in a bear market. Bear markets make you wealthy because when you're able to buy for cheap, that's when you get the big bucks. So
Yeah.
my best advice is um, there will come a time very soon in the next year or so when everything will look red and doomed and this is not the right, but this is the moment you get wealthy. And
Yeah.
you guys have, applied, you've done the first steps. Become your own bank, make sure that your money is working for you, and then pay attention to these new sectors like tokenization or decentralized AI. There is massive, massive value coming. Massive.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Great. Yeah, I mean, that good. That's well worth it.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much for your time. It was a pleasure
Yep.
talking to you. And
Thank
The
hopefully
next
I'll
time
see
we're
you
in
around.
Dubai, I'll send you an email.
Please
you.
do. Please
Yeah,
do. And I'll invite you for lunch. We'll go the three of us.
perfect. That sounds good. All right. Thank
Wonderful.
you.
Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you for your trust and thank you for your time. Bye bye.
Bye now.
Bye-bye.